We, of course, are keeping on with our skip counting skills on our last full week of 2020. So let's check out how our task is a little bit different today with our learning target for math. It says, I can identify when to bundle a smaller unit when skip counting in writing. So for the past few days this week, we have been working on skip counting with our place value chart. We've been using our tools to help us skip count and practice bundling. But today we are going to try and move away from our place value chart. We've talked about before, our place value chart is not going to be there every single time we need to use math throughout our life. So we want to practice taking all that place value knowledge and putting it in our mental math toolbox so we can pull it out whenever it's needed. So today we're still going to practice that super important addition skill of bundling, but we're going back to our original skip counting method of writing it all out. So we're going to be writing our skip counting today, but practicing and seeing when we bundle our group of our smaller unit to make a bigger unit. So of course, we got to remind ourselves of our super important word, bundling. And we've been bundling with the same pattern these past couple of days. The same pattern that's true no matter how big you get up the place value chart. So we have our smaller units, ones and tens. A group of them together makes a bigger unit. Ones to tens and tens to hundreds. But what is the exact ratio? Well, you remember, what's our bundle of ones? How many ones have we been bundling together? What's that super important number? How many ones? 10 ones, exactly. And 10 ones are bundled all together. They make, how many tens? They make 110. 10 ones bundled all together make 110. And this exact same ratio applies when we talk about a bundle of tens. How many tens were we working with? What's our bundle of tens? How many? 10 tens as well. 10 tens. And when we group them all together, how many hundreds do we get? We get 100, the exact same thing. Remember that 10 of a smaller unit equals 1 of a bigger unit every single time, as we can see here up on our board. So Super Scholars, to start us off, I am going to use my place value chart out. I'm going to use the place value chart up on the board as we practice writing out our skip counting alongside with it. You don't need your place value chart and a whiteboard out right now. That might be a little too much on your desk. So all I want you to have is a whiteboard so you can practice writing. And then you can use the place value chart I have up on the screen to watch where we're bundling and then transfer that skill to writing. So I want you to get out a nice whiteboard, and I'm going to get out our place value chart. Okay, so I have our place value chart up, and you have a whiteboard out that you're going to practice writing along skip counting with me. But first up, what do we have up on our board? What number is this? What do you see? What number do we have? We have 689. 689. And we're going to count all the way to 900. 900 is going to be our destination. But we're starting right now with 689. And so yesterday, how did we always want to start skip counting? From right to left. So what value did we start with? Counting by the ones. We started all the way to the right, counting by the ones. Because this is the same formula we're going to have to follow with addition. So, Super Scholars, as we count, we're going to have to bundle when we get 10 of a smaller unit. Every time we bundle, we're going to mark it on our writing as we skip count. And guess what? Those numbers where we bundle are going to end up being benchmark numbers. That super important vocabulary word that we talked about before. Benchmark numbers. When we're bundling, we're going to get a benchmark number. So let's start. Okay, we said we wanted to start with our ones. So right now, how many ones do we have? We have 9 ones. So if we add another 1, how many are we going to have? How many ones? 10 ones. And what happens when we have 10 ones? We need to bundle together, and 10 ones equals 110 that we're going to add. So after we counted up 1, we had to bundle our ones and get another 10. So our next number is, what's up here? 690. 690. And I'm going to underline it to show this is a number where we had to bundle to get it. We had 9 ones before, and once we were going to skip count up 1, we're going to get 10 ones. And those had to bundle together, and we added and made it the equal to 110. Okay, let's see. So we hit 690. So now, what do we want to skip count by? What's the value? We want to skip count by the tens. That's the next one. But look, how many tens do we have? How many tens do you see? 9 tens. So if we're going to skip count up 10, how many tens would we get? 10 tens. And what happens when we get 10 tens? We need to bundle together. And if we bundle 10 tens together, that's equal to 100. So we're going to take all our 10 value, bundle it together to make it equal 100. So what number do we have now on our place value chart? What do you see? We now have 7 hundreds. We have 7 hundreds. Before we had 9 tens, but as soon as we were going to add our 10th one, all that value had to bundle together, and we added it to our hundreds to go from 6 hundreds, 9 tens, all the way to 7 hundreds. So this is the skill we're going to be practicing. Whenever we know we've had to bundle 10 of a smaller unit, we're going to underline it to show that we can identify that is a number that required bundling. But we're not done yet. We're at 700, and remember, our final goal was 900. So if we have 700s right now, how can we get to 900s? What do we want to keep counting by? What do we want to count by? We want to count by hundreds. So right now we have 700s. We're going to add another, you're going to get 800. Good job. And then 900. Awesome. We reached our destination, 900. So with our writing, I was going back and using my 3 different colors to show when I counted by ones, then tens, and by hundreds. So can we count when we counted? That super important skill. Let's see. How many ones did we count? 1, 1. How many tens? 110. And how many hundreds? 100. 200. So 1, 1, 1, 2 hundredths is how much we had to add. Woo! That was awesome doing our place value chart and our writing. But now I want you to put your place value chart in your head because we're just going to go to our whiteboards. Okay, so I've put our place value chart away, and now all I've got is a whiteboard left. So we're really going to have to imagine that place value chart in our head and see those 10 ones or 10 tens bundling together to make one of the bigger units. So let's see. First up, we're going to work together to skip count from 55 to 300. So we're going to start at 55 and we want to get all the way up to 300. So our starting point, can we write that down? 55. Awesome. How many tens do we have right now? 5. How many ones do we have? 5, the same amount. And just like we were practicing with our place value chart, we were skip counting from right to left, starting with the smallest value and working our way up. And we're going to practice the same tool. So we're going to start with the ones, then count by tens, and finally count by hundreds. So that means I'm going to start with my blue marker to count by ones. So like we said before, how many ones do we have? 5. So let's add 1 1 and see when are we going to bundle these ones. Here we go. So add 1, we'll get 56, 57, 58, 59. What comes after 59? You see? We've got 9 ones right now. If we're going to add 1 more 1, how many ones will we have? We're going to have 10 ones. We have 9 right now. If we add 1 more, we're going to have 10 ones. And 10 ones equals 110. We have to bundle our 10 ones together to get 110. So all that value is going to go to the tens place. And we now have, what number? 60. We now have 6 tens. Because all our ones value got bundled into a 10. And we added it to our 5 tens. And now have 6 tens. 60. And make sure you underline your 60 because this is a number where we had to bundle in order to keep counting. We bundled all our ones together to get 60. Awesome job. Okay, we reached 60. It's a benchmark number. We bundled. So how do we want to start counting by now? What value? Our tens. We reached a tens number, so we want to keep that up. How many tens do we have right now? 6 of them. So if we're going to add 1 more 10, we're going to get 70 and then 80 and 90. Look at that. We've got 9 tens. If we're going to add just 1 more 10, how many tens would we have? 10 tens. And 10 tens equals what? We bundle it together. 10 tens is 100. It's 100. This is a nice simple one. We had our 9 tens. As soon as we added our next, we were going to have 10 tens, which equals 100. Make sure you underline it. This is where we had to bundle. We had to bundle our tens to get our next 100. Good job. Okay, let's see. Where are we at right now? Where do we want to get to? So what are we going to count by now? What's our last stretch? We want to count by hundreds. Let's count by hundreds. We've got 1 and we want 3. So we're going to add we would get 200 and then 300. There we go. Make sure if you want to box your last number, that it's different. We underlined our bundled numbers, but we boxed our starting and our ending, just to make sure you can tell the difference. Good job, Super Scholars. So, our biggest thing that we want to remember is to get from 59 to 60, we had to bundle our 10 ones. To get from 90 to 100, we had to bundle our 10 tens. You're going to need to practice explaining this and using your language when you do your problems on your own. But for right now, we've got one more to do together. So, reset, reset. But before we get to that next problem, we have to move our bodies today, second grade. So stand up so we can ask ourselves a fun Christmas question. This or that. Would you rather wear an ugly Christmas sweater? If so, you're going to do 5 crisscross. Or would you rather wear Christmas pajamas? If so, you're going to do 5 one-foot hops. You got a choice. Ugly Christmas sweater or Christmas pajamas? What do you choose? I'm going to choose pajamas, so I'm going to do 1-foot hops again. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. Okay, come right back to your whiteboard because our final question is waiting for us. So it says 187 to 410. So what is our starting point? How much do we have right now? 187. Good job. How many hundreds is that? 1. How many tens? 8. How many ones? 7. Exactly. So as we start counting, we're going to imagine our place value chart. We're going to go from right to left, remembering to bundle 10 of our smaller unit to get 1 of a bigger unit. So, how are we going to start skip counting by? What's the value we're going to start with? Start skip counting by the ones. So again, how many ones do we have? 7. So if I'm going to add a 1, we'll get 188, and then 189. Look at that. We've got 9 ones. If I want to add another 1, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We'll have 10 ones, but we can't have 180 10. What do we got to do? Bundle all this ones together and then add that value to the tens place. So we're going to have 100. This is tricky. 90. We're going to have 190. In order to add another 1, our ones had to bundle together, and that equaled 110. That 110 went into our tens place, and we now have 190. 190. Okay, make sure you underline that as your bundling and benchmark number. So, we've got 190. What do we want to skip count by next? What's next on our chart? The tens, okay. So, if I want to add a 10, how many tens do we have right now? 9 tens, we have 9 tens. So if we want to add 1 more, how many tens are we going to get? 10 of them. And what happens when we get 10 tens? We'll have 100. So we're going to take all this value from the tens place, bundle it for 100, and we're then going to get 200. We're going to have 200. Our 10 just added, in our mind, we can't see it, had to bundle together. They'd equal 100. And then we added that value into the hundreds place to go from 190 to 200. That's a pretty tricky jump, but it's super, super important that we need to use by imagining our place value chart. Whew. Okay, so make sure it's underlined or you've identified it somehow. Your bundle number, your benchmark number. So let's see. We just skip counted by ones and then tens. What's next? What do we need to skip count by? Hundreds, exactly. How many hundreds do we have right now? 2. How many hundreds do we want? 4. So let's add until we get there. So if we're going to add 100, we'll have 300 and then 400. Good job. But let's see. What's the difference? We got our 400s we wanted, but what is our last step? We want to add one more. We just want to add one more 10. We see 110. So let's go ahead and do that. 400 and then 410. Our final destination. Okay, awesome people. These are tricky, but they're so important. We knew when we were counting that we had to bundle our 10 ones together to go from 189 to 90, and we had to bundle our 10 tens together to go from 190 to 200. This is what you are going to do on your own today. You're going to be writing out skip counting and say, 189. I have 9 ones, so in order to keep adding, I need to bundle my ones to get 110. And then I have 190. In order to keep counting, I need to bundle my tens together to get 100. This might be tricky language to talk about at first, but I want you to take it slow, practice, figure out a way that works for you, how you can explain when you bundled and why you had to bundle. So this is what you are going to do, Super Scholars, right now. So let's take a look at what you got. Okay, so today you've got the choice between 2 sets of numbers that you can choose from to count. First up, our first contestant is 38 to 300. So you can count from 38 to 300, or you can choose contestant number 2 and count from 437 to 600. The choice is up to you. You're going to pick one of these and practice writing out your skip counting. You're going to imagine this place value chart in your head so that when you get to a number that's going to make 10 ones or 10 tens, you have to practice marking, identifying, explaining how you bundled those smaller units to get one of your bigger unit and keep counting. So just like we practiced today, we were marking, we were explaining, we were seeing, detecting. You're going to do that with the set that you choose, writing out your numbers and talking about it. If you want to practice on your place value chart first and then take a video of yourself just writing, you can totally do that if that helps you. So you can practice on your chart, but in your video, I want to see you writing out the numbers and identifying those bundle benchmark ones. Okay, awesome people. You've done a great job skip counting. I can tell a lot of us have really great skills. So prepare your awesome mathematician toolbox